What's the end goal with the lawsuit? The SEC notoriously has not been interested in physically backed ETFs. What do you hope to get out of this?
The goal is to convert Gbtc to an ETF. When I think back to Grayscale's earliest days when we launched Gbtc, we had always envisioned this to be an ETF. And since that time, we've worked tirelessly to now build this into the world's largest Bitcoin fund. Investors have been patient. We know that they want this. We know that they deserve this. And the lawsuit is really intended to challenge the SEC's decision here.
And Michael, let's talk about the big issue, which is the discount on Gbtc, because yesterday GBT shares closed at a 28% discount to the net asset value. You and I have talked for hours about that. And now with ETF conversion seemingly off the table for at least now, what steps can Grayscale take to try to repair that discount?
Well, certainly investors know that the conversion to an ETF is ultimately what will remove the discount. In applying an ETF, you're essentially getting relief from the SEC to ensure that the fund can have simultaneous creations and redemptions, which would arbitrage away that discount. This is such a missed opportunity, Katie, and you know this better than anybody, that the SEC has not allowed this product to come even closer into the regulatory perimeter and give investors greater protection, greater disclosure, and that really is what will fix the discount in Gbtc.
Well, with the SEC seemingly sort of digging in its heels here, rejecting the application, and others, Bitwise also rejected last night, is there a situation in which you would decide to liquidate Gbtc?
We remain laser focused on the conversion to an ETF. Last night, within less than an hour, as you guys shared, after receiving the SEC's denial, our attorneys filed a petition for review with the appellate court. We've been guided to believe that it could be, call it 9 to 12 months on that decision. It could be a little bit longer, it could be a little bit shorter, but we hold strong in our common sense arguments around the ETF conversion, and have a fantastic legal bench that will be arguing this case on behalf of investors.
Michael, what's the timeline here? Investors have been patient thus far. How much longer should they be patient for?
Well, I think that when I look at the Gbtc shareholder base, right, you now have, millions of Americans who own shares of Gbtc. Individuals, retirement accounts, ETFs own it, mutual funds own it, institutions own it. These tend to be investors that are investing in Bitcoin over the medium to longer term. And so the way that they've advocated, the way that they've voiced their concerns around this are in fact for an ETF. And we believe that investors will be patient through the lawsuit and ensure that ultimately that conversion does happen.
Is that a this year thing? Is it a 2023 thing? How long do you think it's going to take, Michael?
Well, as I shared, the fact that we are filing a lawsuit against a federal regulator causes this issue to bypass the district court and go straight to the appellate court. We have again been guided to believe that that's usually about a 9 to 12 month process, could be longer, could be shorter, and that's the timeframes that we're able to offer at this time.
And Michael, let's broaden this conversation out a little bit and talk about Gbtc's role in the broader crypto ecosystem, because there was news yesterday that 3 Arrows Capital, one of the biggest crypto hedge funds out there, it was ordered into liquidation by a court in the British Virgin Islands. And as of December 2020, 3 Arrows was one of the biggest holders in Gbtc. I'm curious, are they still the biggest institutional holder in the trust?
Well, we're only able to, obviously talk about our clients in the context of public filings. Katie, our business model and product lifecycle all too well, where an investor like 3 Arrows participated directly in the Grayscale private placement. And so after that statutory holding period, we don't have visibility into where the investor's shares reside. And so 3 Arrows filing that, what is now over 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, it's hard to tell where those shares reside, but they are still part of Gbtc overall.
Last question here, Michael, and this is from a viewer actually. And going back to the lawsuit, if you do win the lawsuit, what then happens? Does the SEC issue the ETF immediately? How quickly can you convert? It's like a different way of looking at your timeline.
So there are some mechanical, constructs that would be worked out if and when the lawsuit is won by Grayscale. GBTC holders would not have to do anything to have their existing shares registered as part of the ETF, and you would see the shares uplist to the New York Stock Exchange, which is the listing partner that we've selected for GBTC as an ETF. And then you'll start to see those primary and secondary market transactions that will allow for creations and redemptions of the ETF.